Good morning. It's turned out nice again. Yeah, I suppose compared to England it's nice, but I don't think it's nice. How you doing, guys? You alright? So where shall we start? We'll start by saying, if you've supported Let's Make KopTalk TV great again, can you please make sure your name is in the video description below? If it isn't, please email me dunk, D-U-N-K, at KopTalk.com. And point it out to me, because I'm a little bit behind on a few of my emails and things, probably 2 or 3 days behind. So it's important to me that that list is up to date. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please read the video description, or go to www.KopTalk.tv. Alright, so, how are you doing? You alright? Yeah, good. So, you guys will have seen last night, I've got my tablet again. This report in the Mail by Mike Keegan, talking about Qatari investment, but unfortunately not Liverpool Football Club, Manchester United. Boo. Qatari investors will bid for Manchester United within days, in capital letters, like, you know what I mean, like days. Ooh. And are confident of blowing any competitors out of the water, and they want to hand Erik ten Hag a huge, capital letters, transfer kitty. That's the article in the Daily Mail from last night. It went live at 11 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock UK. We're going to go through this together, all right? And the reason we're going to go through this together is just to see if, does this hinder or help our chances of investment, for example, and do we believe what's in this article? Manchester United are set to receive a massive offer from Qatari investors. The group are confident the bid will blow rivals away. The Glazers seeking £6 billion. Absolutely disgusting, these American investors, aren't they? I mean, just disgusting. Awful, awful people. Sorry, guys, this isn't about Americans. My best friend's American. I've got some of my bestest friends in the world are out in America. This is about these types that they don't care about football, soccer. They don't care. Anyway, should the takeover go through, Erik ten Hag would get a huge transfer kitty. See, that's to appeal to the fans, isn't it? That's just nonsense. Do you really think, the people behind leaking this news to Mike Keegan really went, and it'll be massive transfer kitty? If you're an investor coming into a club, or whatever, you buy the club, you want it to be successful, you still don't want to be reckless, what do we need to do? It's just, I don't know, I think that's the sensationalism, side of these kind of newspapers, really. But that shouldn't, in my opinion, dismiss the article, if that makes sense. That's just tacky journalism, I think. And it plays to an audience, all right? Because we, as football supporters, we like words like transfer kitty, don't we? And huge. There's a joke in there somewhere. Too early for that. Right, Qatari investors are planning an incredible mega money swoop for Manchester United and want to give manager Erik ten Hag the financial backing to lead the club back to the top. That's a better way of saying it. Sources have disclosed a group of private, high-wealth individuals based in the oil-rich state, buoyed by Qatar's hosting of the World Cup, that have set their sights on a club they view as football's crown jewels. All right. They will make an offer for United in the coming days ahead of the mid-February deadline set by the Glazers, and are confident their bid will blow the competition out of the water. Now, the mid-February deadline, I think, is interesting because the Glazers and our shower, they're all pals, right? And both clubs went up for sale around the same time, right? More or less, I'm not enjoying that jam and toast tea. I prefer the biscuit brew. I've run out of tea bags. And you can't get them out here. So yeah, I think that's quite interesting because it ties in with a lot of what we're hearing. When I say where, I want to be where as in fan base, not where as in KopTalk. You know, people involved with KopTalk. There's a lot of people out there that think that in February we will hear, maybe get some progress, some credible progress. Maybe get to hear of, interested parties in Liverpool Football Club. Now, if you believe the media, that cliquey Liverpool FC media that are, that have dialogue with FSG and people within that organisation, there is no real interest in Liverpool Football Club. However, if you believe journalists that are independent from FSG and that Liverpool clique, they will tell you there is. So you've got to decide who you're more willing to believe. Are you more willing to believe the FSG side because they're honest people and they're going to want you all to know what's happening? Or are you going to believe the independent side, away from that Liverpool clique of journalists? There's a handful of them, and that have not got FSG in their ear. That this other side, these independent ones, who really have nothing to lose by writing anything about FSG. Think about that. These people can say what they want, and they're not really losing any access. So you would pay particular attention, in my opinion, to independent journalists in America, with the exception of Ben Jacobs. I wouldn't pay any attention to what he says, to be honest with you. I think he's trying to make a name for himself on the back of all this, and he seems to have a knowledge of all clubs, which is like what I just find that very strange. But he might come, he might prove himself one day. We shall see. I think he's like a poor man's Fabrizio Romano. Mo Salah. If you don't know why Aslis did that, right, you haven't been around these parts for very long. He once did a video about Mo Salah's contract negotiations, and for about 30 minutes saying the same thing. I mean, even I at least try and talk about something different in a 30-minute long video. And every time he mentioned Mo Salah, he went, Mo Salah! It's just like, oh my God. I mean, he's another plant pot anyway, tapping merchant. A lot of them just go around, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so me personally, you can, you deal with things how you want, but I pay more attention to independent journalists in the States, for example, that have no real, they're not, there's no such thing as on the payroll, but they don't need to be pally with anyone to do with FSG. You're not going to lose anything, whereas we have this clique of journalists that dare say anything. You know what I mean? So, but you can also listen to, say, journalists in Qatar or the Middle East, but then you've got to use a bit more caution on that side in a different way, because they're then speaking for maybe some of these financial organisations or consortiums, and you always have to wonder, why am I reading this? Is there a connection between the journalists? So in February, you guys, I think, are probably hoping to hear something more credible to do with, some real progress, maybe. By that, maybe maybe the people that are trying to find buyers for FSG might in February submit, a dossier or documents to FSG, saying, well, this is the situation. That's what many people are expecting. And that ties in with what's been said in this report with Manchester United around the same kind of timeline, yeah? Me personally, I think a lot of fans, our fans, are hoping that they will get concrete, we are sold news in February. I can't agree with you guys, I'm afraid, at the moment. My opinion might be different by the time I have my second or third cup of tea today. So, mid-February deadline set by the Glazers. United's owners are seeking more than... Right, hang on, I want to slow this down a bit. Go back a little bit. They're confident their bid will blow the competition out of the water. I don't think I would... That sounds reckless to me. I want to, just have a winning bid. And as small margin as possible. Small like that, you know what I mean? Some of the dads might get that. I don't want to blow anyone out. Like if I'm buying an house for 300,000, and someone's offering 305, I want to pay 305.50 or 300. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say 400,000. So why would I want to blow anyone out of the water? Sensationalism again. Right. United owners are seeking more than $6 billion for the club, and there is the prospect of another huge bill to redevelop Old Trafford. And this is something I've talked about in my previous videos, that when you put the two clubs side by side, Manchester United might be a more attractive, potential acquisition to some people in the world that are not Liverpool fans. But I think that more money is needed to be invested at Manchester United than it is Liverpool. So Manchester United might cost more money than Liverpool to buy, maybe. Who knows? But I think that whoever buys that club is going to have to spend a lot more money on it. Not necessarily the playing squad, but like this says, to redevelop Old Trafford. And I'm not so sure, but I think it may even, maybe their other facility. Like we have really good facilities at Liverpool, right? And United are behind on that. So it's going to be expensive for whoever, more expensive, I think, for whoever invests in Manchester United. Not just the asking price, but also the what's required moving forward. Fan engagement is at the heart of their bid, and they may well seek the views of supporters on the future of the stadium. It's always good to have the views of anyone in life. We can all do that on a personal level. You might go to your loved ones and say, "What do you think, darling? Shall I do that?" Yeah? No, you don't think I should do it. Well, I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? So like this, when a lot of these organisations, and I've seen it, especially with Liverpool, there are suggestions that I did a video yesterday. I think it was called FSG's Dinner Date, and it was for members, people that support me, purely because I want a quiet life, and I don't want to be when you put some claims out. Sometimes, I can't be doing with people going, you know what I mean. So yesterday's video was not sensitive, but it was just like I can't be doing it. I want a quiet life, and part of those of that video yesterday was, I'm afraid to say, was more to do with the way things are going in America, to do with Liverpool Football Club, apparently. And people that may be sniffing around Liverpool Football Club from America, and I'm not talking HSBE here, there are suggestions of maybe like making a little bit available for the fans and that. And that's kind of like get the supporters on board, make them feel involved and that. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know, but this is in the article. Fan engagement is at the heart of their bid. It's what they're saying, what the fans want them to hear. But really, they don't care about the fans. We all know that, whether it's United or Liverpool. One potential stumbling block is Qatar'S investment, so it's QSI, ownership of PSG. One entity cannot, as we know, own two clubs in the same competition, obviously European competition. The bid for United would come from separate individual Qatari investors. And this is what, I mention this all the time, if you go on somewhere and say, I've heard that this particular group might be involved in, then someone go, yeah, but they own part of that and they own that, and it's never going to happen, you're talking rubbish. Guys, these people, they're not billionaires and millionaires and zillionaires for no reason. They know how to get round things, all right? Man City have tried doing that. Hey, I tell you what, if you go, I don't know if you've got Twitter, maybe you don't need Twitter, an account on Twitter, but if you go to twitter.com/Duncan Oldham or /KopTalk, I retweeted today, this morning, some examples. I think it was some internal emails to do with Manchester City, of how they allegedly tried to defraud and all the drama that's going on at the moment. And it makes for very interesting reading, honestly. You look at them messages, the content there. I can't remember the name of the lad, who put this out originally, or what his working capacity is. But it's mind-blowing stuff, like, and if you look at it and think, how can they possibly get away with it? You know what I mean? So have a look at that. Honestly, if you're interested in it, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. So the bid for United would come from separate individual Qatari investors. This means that the same sort of people could do that with Liverpool, right? There is no interest in taking a partial stake, with only a full-blown takeover being discussed. Again, this is something that I've been saying in terms of that region wanting to buy Liverpool Football Club. I don't believe that those people would want just a part of the club. I think they want to be the best in the region. They don't want to be like minnow, like just like a little bit. And I think the only reason people do that is for association. What I mean is, if you only like, if say someone in Bahrain, if they bought a stake in Liverpool Football Club, I would say, well, that's maybe because that gives them, a link to prestige, hospitality. It's maybe good for tourism, and just purely for finance, for business. See, everything's for business. What do I mean? Purely for promoting that country, rather than investing to claw money back per se from the club. But like, we can do this, we can fly you to this. It's, I'm sure you understand. I just can't really find a way of explaining what I mean. So if it's not a country doing that, or a group doing that, then I think that you're going to want, a full takeover. And also, you don't have any say when you're a minor investor in anything. And a minor investor is not going to come in and spend money. So, like I said in my video the other day, I think if FSG, for example, were to take on board more investment from Redbird within the FSG organisation, not Liverpool Football Club, increasing their stake in FSG, that might free up $1 billion for them, say. Do you really think they're going to put $1 billion into Liverpool Football Club? No, they would put a fraction of it into Liverpool Football Club, but it's short term, isn't it? It might pay for a rebuild now, but what happens in 5 years' time? So minor investment is a no-no. Is a no-no for me. But again, sorry. So at Manchester United, this group, let's just say that this group is not interested in Liverpool Football Club, and this proceeds or whatever. This could fail, and if it fails, they might turn to us. Or there might be other people in that region. We're focusing on this article to see if, to try and learn from it. Their attitudes, right? Because it could be relevant to us. That would include handing. Hang on a minute. Stop. The bid for United will come from separate individual Qatari investors. There is no interest in taking a partial stake, with only a full-blown takeover being discussed. Insiders have disclosed that the group want to use the knowledge gained from hosting the World Cup and are seeking a new project. That would include handing Ten Hag a transfer war chest. Transfer war chest, not a kitty, a war chest. To allow him to compete for signings with the world's richest clubs. There are significant funds available, they said. These people are serious. There you go. This is why I'm reading the article, because these people in that region are serious. They want to be the best. They want to make sure that United are where they should be, and they are confident theirs will be the strongest bid. Now, this is an unnamed source, which is a shame, because it doesn't give it, like no one's stepping up going, this is what we want to do. All right? So you've got to decide, is this genuine? I actually think this is genuine. All right? They want to strengthen, this is continuing with the quotes of this unnamed source, they want to strengthen the squad to put them back at the top, but they also want this to be for the good of the community. That's just PR spiel, isn't it? They also want to build on the success of the World Cup. They recognise that Manchester United is the biggest football club in the world, the crown jewels, and there is a steely-minded determination to buy it and get it to where it should be. A successful bid would see Manchester's two clubs on opposite sides of the Qatar-Abu Dhabi rivalry. And this is why I want Middle East investment. Because them, you see, I could try not to swear because YouTube's been telling me off on my videos, right? You want to be a bit, think of it like this. If you're English, right? And England own one club and Scotland own another. Can you imagine? Well, it'd be better than them. You know what I mean? And this is what, I know it's very simple terms, but Qatar-Abu Dhabi rivalry. It's mental, isn't it? It would see Qatari-owned United go up against Saudi-owned Newcastle. The Gulf neighbours are fierce rivals, and they really are. And there has, I should at this point, been suggestions of business people in both of those countries forming a consortium to come for Liverpool. So don't be disheartened if this progresses or goes anywhere, all right? Because there's still suggestions of other, things. The Takeover would need Premier League approval and may face opposition in some quarters given concerns over the country's human rights record. Well, as we know, that means nothing. It just doesn't. The Emir of Qatar, head of its absolute monarchy, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. See, I love them names. I want to be an Arab, mate. I'd love to walk around like that in a sheet all day. You know what I mean? It's mint. He's a committed United fan who is well aware of the club's history. There you go. In 2011, it was reported that the Al Thani family had an offer of more than $1 billion for United turned down by the Glazers. That year, they bought a 70% stake in PSG, although the French giants are yet to win a Champions League title. Why would you want to buy into, like, the French league is like the most boring league in the world. Have you ever tried watching it? It's absolutely pants. It really is. I don't mind a bit of La Liga, that's alright. I like to watch Valencia play, that's the nearest team to me really well. I like Valencia. Serie A, Italian football. I love Serie A, Italian football. I watched the Milan derby the other day. It was brilliant. Well, it weren't brilliant. I just like the old occasion of the brilliance, if you know what I mean. You know, French football. Alright, they haven't won a Champions League title. Qatari money has transformed the club into the biggest in the country and made it a global force. So it wouldn't take much doing, right? Really, would it? The Qataris face a significant rival in Jim Ratcliffe, Britain's richest man. Others are likely to submit bids too, but the Ineos owner and lifelong United supporter was the first to go public with his intention to buy the club. That's US merchant bankers Rain, who are handling the process. Now, the source of this news article, these claims that's tipped this journalist off, is from Rain. Alright? You know that, right? Well, should we allege that? Right? This isn't, Qatar leaking this or anything. This is someone at Rain. So they, who are handling the process and also oversaw the sale of Chelsea, have already shared financial information with interested parties ahead of the move to the next stage. No time frame has been set for completion, but the Qataris are keen for the process to reach a quick conclusion. And I think that basically is the article. So the question is, does this affect Liverpool Football Club and our chances? Well, if you have like a Manchester United fan trying to buy Manchester United, then first of all, I won't want them anywhere near our club. And secondly, they would have no passion in doing so. So I would argue, like Jim Ratcliffe, for example, he's not going to go and try and buy Liverpool if he fails in Manchester United, is he? So you could say yes and no. But what I like about this, or what I welcome about this, when I first became aware of this article last night, was that I think this triggers, a set of, or a series of developments now. It makes people move. So that's if you believe the article, and I do believe that article. I think it triggers movement, and so you've got people that want Liverpool Football Club watching what's happening at Manchester United, and people that want Manchester United what's happening at Liverpool, and everyone today associated to Liverpool Football Club will have read that article last night or will be reading it this morning with great interest. John Henry will be like, "Oh, look, have you seen what's going on down there?" Right? If he even knows where Manchester is. I'm sure he does. Very intelligent man. That's why he's a billionaire and I'm a peasant. I'd rather be a peasant than greedy financially. Without a doubt. Yeah. And if I had millions and billions, I'd be sharing my wealth and trying to make a difference in society. I wouldn't be trying to, increase that wealth further. There comes a point, isn't there, guys, where you can only spend so much money, and give me a fraction of any of what these people have, or a week's wages of an academy player at Liverpool, and I'd be all right, and my kids would be all right. So, they are very wealthy people, and I guess many of us will envy that status. But wouldn't you rather be like just not greedy, you know what I mean? Because they are greedy. It is greed. There's a lot of greed in football. But we allow it. But anyway, that's a topic for another day. Does it affect Liverpool Football Club, Duncan? I just think I don't like the valuation of that, because that, if that is, if he said, oh yeah, they want 6 billion, we need to know what they're offering. And at the moment, this article doesn't say that; it just says it'll blow us out of the water. And maybe it will. And I think the valuation has a knock-on effect. And that valuation, even though that article appears credible to me, and I genuinely do believe it, even though there's no one putting the name to it or anything, the source is obviously from the people involved in the process. But there's no valuation there. There is no specific figure that's detailed. And my advice to you would be, today, tomorrow, next week, would be to look for that valuation and not read it in the Daily Star, or some like silly ITK on Twitter or something. Try and get a credible valuation, because I think that really affects what happens with Liverpool. And let's, for example, say the Glazers want 6 billion. I don't know if that's true. That journalist could have. I don't follow Manchester United, all right? And let's just say they want 6 billion but get 5. If you're FSG, you're going to look at that and go, they didn't get exactly what they wanted, so we might have to adjust our valuation. Now, I know what you might be thinking here. You might be thinking, well, if FSG bring the valuation down, that's a good thing, Doug, because then we'll get sold and all that. We'll be careful with this, because from what we understand, when I say we, I am now talking about KopTalk, is the people that are sniffing around Liverpool Football Club that maybe wouldn't be exciting and very wealthy compared to the Middle East people, extremely wealthy compared to me and you. But HSBE, for example, they would like to buy the club, but it sounds like just chatter from people that you would deem credible. It sounds like they've not really got the resources to make it happen, and maybe not making progress on that front for those reasons. So, and very, very quickly, an addition to that is there's people that's been involved in trying to buy other Premier League football clubs that have commented that Liverpool Football Club is too expensive. But these people that have said that are American, right? So if that figure comes down, that increases the chance, I think, of the club being sold in America, or minor investment in America. In my opinion, right, I don't want to give it no ITK nonsense on here, right? We do a lot of just chewing things over, and we listen to people, and I'll read your comments, and sometimes you'll put a comment in and I think, yeah, spot on, why didn't I think of that? So this is a community-driven KopTalk, right? And I think that I've forgotten what I was going to say. I thought it was really good. It was important. So let me roll it back. So they want to buy, I don't know, it's to do with the American investors. Well, basically I'll have been repeating myself anyway, you know what I'm like. So that if the price comes down, potential American people that want to buy the club outright, more likely to succeed if the price comes down, because the Americans will be able to match it. The same if it's minor investment. That's it basically. Well, it can't be that important, or else I'd be all over it. It's probably just a point for you to consider. It's certainly, I trust the people that talk to me, and we do. If you're a KopTalk VIP member, if you're on the members website, you'll know that we have a very good, I hate saying it, but source, I prefer to say member, friend, that is involved in the financial side of things to do with the club. This has been verified many, many years ago. And if they've got an opinion about it all, then you've got to listen to them. I'm sure they're not told, what's going on by FSG on a daily basis, but a limited amount of people would know what's going on. But if you work, it doesn't matter. If you're involved in finance to do a Liverpool Football Club, you're going to have opinions, and you're going to have your colleagues are going to have opinions. You're going to see things, and maybe an organisation that's trying to sell Liverpool Football Club would speak to your department and say, "Have you got document such and such? John wants it, or we need it, or whatever." And said employee goes, "Yeah, I can find that information for you." And that might be just something, it'll be something financial that's sent back. You are told why they want it, but if you're clever at your job, you're going to think, "I know what that's about." Do you know what I mean, guys? So there is, to an extent, I do think you can get bits of information, but I certainly wouldn't want to be giving it all like, "I know what's happening," or "they know what's happening." Jurgen Klopp won't have a clue what's happening, so there you go. If he don't know, I'm sure we don't know. Maybe, I don't know. So I wouldn't be disheartened by what you've seen today. I know a lot of you were wanting to throw yourself off buildings last night and under trains and things. That's it. If this happens, we're set back another 30 years. No, that's the wrong attitude to have. First of all, they've got to succeed. And even if they do succeed, so what? Let someone buy Manchester United that wants Manchester United. I would much rather be bought by someone that wants Liverpool, that hasn't got the same financial clout maybe, but is a football person, loves the club, and will give their everything. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't want someone that's at Crystal Palace that took a look at that club and is now taking a look at that club, and they're just looking at it like something to do. So that I don't care. I want someone just to own the club and to do their best and to care. That's it. It's not just about money for me in terms of buying loads of new players and stuff like that. So I think we need to watch for the valuation of Manchester United, because I think that affects us. I do think it will trigger all sorts of things now to do with Liverpool Football Club as well. People have to start making moves. Like if that is genuine and they're about to submit a bid for Manchester United, I like to be specific so that we can talk about informal bids, formal bids, written bids, verbal bids. Who knows what bid means in terms of what they're going to submit. But I do think that will trigger other people interested in Manchester United to step up. And I think it will have a knock-on effect with what happens with Liverpool, especially this month. Now, what I said to you at the weekend, I think, was this week, my tip this week would be to listen out for, credible writing, credible claims, and that this excludes everyone on Twitter, by the way, all right, that uses Twitter as their primary source of spreading news. So you might have Paul Joyce, for example, that's a great Liverpool journalist, but he only puts out his articles or whatever really on Twitter, or a little thing. He's not trying to be someone on Twitter. So that in its sense gives credibility straight away, because then you've got people like that Ben Jacobs, for example, that sole purpose is to be the man on Twitter that is building up his profile and knows about everything, like Fabrizio Romano. And it doesn't mean these people are bad people. I just think that when I say listen out for credible written, I'm not talking about some numpty ITK, I'm talking about credible, and I'm talking about, big hitters like Paul Joyce, like certain individuals at The Athletic, certainly not James Pearce. But I was thinking this week we might see something like that. Now, it was only because of something that was said to me, and my own thoughts about this last night was, is this article in the Mail, is that what I was told to look out for this week? And there's been some sort of like Chinese whispers and it's turned out to be United. Does that make sense? So I don't know if I can claim to you and say, yeah, it was that guy, because I'm not sure myself. I was just told to listen out for something coming out this week that would be not very, not speculative, like this might be happening, but this is happening, which is what that article does. So maybe that's it. Maybe we won't see anything to do with Liverpool Football Club this week. I don't know. But it does fall into that category, and I was laid there. I'm such a sad. I was laid there last night in bed thinking, I wonder if that was it. Because these journalists, you know, collaborate, talk to each other, and I don't know. I'm not disappointed though, alright? So don't be disappointed by this. Keep an eye on that valuation and still keep your eyes and your ears open this week, guys, alright? Yeah, that's it. I hope I've explained things here. My video is to try and just to plant a seed in your head and to tell you what to look for and not to be disheartened by this. I actually think this is a good thing for Liverpool Football Club. I do, guys. All right. So let's see. We might regroup again today. I've got another video coming up for you in a minute. If you are a channel member, make sure you watch yesterday's video about FSG's dinner date. Or if you're a KopTalk VIP member, it's on the members website in the Executive Lounge Club Sale Investment Forum. I think it's very interesting. I wouldn't want to go public with it personally because I can't be doing with the aggravation. And thanks to those of you that do support my channel. And again, please, if you have supported my channel in the last few days, you know, because some people will chip a few quid and get yourself a beer dunk and that, you know, let me know, dunk@koptalk.com, just so I'm up to date. Thanks to Jen as well. She watched my video yesterday about my mum, as did many of you, and there must be a thanks. I mentioned this the other day. I think there's a thanks thing under the video. I don't know how it works really. I'm an old man, but it enabled me to buy a drink. That is for sure. So thanks to that, Jen, and also thanks to every single one of you yesterday that left comments about that video. Many of you will not have watched that video because it's not about a club sale. You're only bothered in the football, and that's fine. But I do think that if you watch, you know these people that create videos or podcasts or they do whatever, it's good to know a little bit about their character, inform your own opinions, not what someone else tells you about them, because I've got haters out there. You watch my videos like that one yesterday, you know, watch it and just think, yeah, you know, you get to know a little bit about me and that, and it is to do with Liverpool Football Club. It's amazing to do with Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, I do appreciate all the lovely comments that you left about that. And you know something, in that video, in those comments, many of you, you know, told me about, you know, parents that you've lost, you know, your mums, your dads and things like that. And I tell you what I noticed yesterday, well, a lot of you emailed me personally and didn't comment in the video description. And I promise you I will reply, but I am a few days behind on things, right? I always reply. If I don't reply to you and you've sent me an email or you've sent me a Twitter DM or a Facebook message, you can add me as a friend on Facebook, Dunk, D-U-N-K, Oldham, O-L-D-H-A-M. Please leave it a day or two and then reply to it and say, just a little reminder, Dunk. I would never be offended if you're reminding me, right? Because that brings your email to the top, or because sometimes you'll message me, or I'll get, you know, an email or something, and I'll go, right, I'll reply to that later. And I could reply to it there and then, but I don't like to rush a reply to people. I like to give people my proper, like, the respect that they deserve. And but at the end of the day, sometimes I run out of time or I forget. So please, if you have ever emailed me or sent me a message anywhere, don't do it when you're on YouTube. That wouldn't work. Just, you know, via the personal messaging wherever or email. Just send a thing to me, please, a couple of days later. You can send it every single day until I reply. It will not offend me. It'll just remind me. And I promise I'll reply. But I just wanted to thank all of you, you know, that took time out yesterday and commented. And the emails you sent me, it was really, really nice. And when I get messages saying, you know, I lost someone, similar circle, or whatever, it just reminds me that I'm not the only one out there, you know. And I know that anyway, you know, we all of us go through personal tragedy at some point in our lives, which is awful. But it reminds me, like, yeah, you know, stay humble, don't be a victim, don't be feeling sorry for yourself, don't be full of self-pity. I don't think I fall into any of those categories anyway. I'm very aware that you know, it's not a poor me, other people go through the same stuff, but I still like, you know, that little reminder that there's other people out there, and I just want you to know that I've got your back as well, you know. And if you ever do feel a bit down or out like that, you can always message me in confidence, dunk@KopTalk.com. And I know I've just said it takes me forever to reply, but I can tell you now, many times over the years when fans have messaged me, when I say fans, I mean Liverpool fans, or people have messaged me. If I get I always read anything as it comes in. If someone says that they're feeling in a low place or down, I do reply to those emails immediately, like within seconds, because you just never know if someone's reaching out sometimes. And I've had examples of that, where people have been really in a bad place and have said, I watch your videos, Dunk, and I feel like this, and I've gone like, come on, you're all right, let's sort it out, right? You know what I mean? So I will always be there for you guys too. You know that anyway, I think my long-term viewers do. So, right, I'm going to make another cup of tea, and then we're gonna talk about something else.